It's a coincidence, really, that today is the first day of the civil New Year and also the feast of Mary, the Mother of God. We've been celebrating the feast of Mary, the Mother of God, for probably about 1900 years on this date, the 8th day of Christmas, the 8th day after the feast of Christmas. But we only started celebrating New Year's Day on this date in 1752. That's when the British Empire, of which we were a part at that time, changed the date of New Year's from whatever it had been to the 1st of January. So we've been doing January 1st for almost 2,000 years, where New Year's Day is a relatively recent invention for us. But it couldn't happen at a better time, because we are entering into a year which is really troubling. I'm sure all of us are a bit anxious about the future. I mean, look what's happening in our world, on our planet, in our village, really. It's all getting very close to home. You don't have enough fingers to count all the wars that are going on around the world right now. Not only in our city streets, but also in multiple countries around the world. There's all kinds of anxiety and trepidation which people who are observing what's going on around them will be having in these early days of this year. So we couldn't be entering into the year with a better model and guide than the Mother of Jesus. I mean, her whole experience of Christ, her Son, started with questions. How can this be? I'm not married. And I'm sure, even though we didn't hear all the questions which came later to her mind, they must have been there, because how can I have a baby in a place like this? And then, a few weeks later, off we go as migrants to Egypt. What's going to happen to us? What's the future going to bring? When they finally get back to their native place, they're living with this child who is acting out as a teenager, right? Running away from home. And then when they ask him about it, he says, "Why are you asking me this?" Mary's whole life was going down a path in which the future was not clear. And that is the way I see our future, at least the immediate future, because there are so many questions and so many concerns and so many anxieties, not only locally but internationally, and in many of our lives, I'm sure even personally. So we're entering with good company. How did Mary handle her anxieties and her questions and her uncertainty about the future, the unknown future? Well, she did it in the company of her Son. She stayed with Jesus, or Jesus stayed with her, whichever way you want to put it. She lived her life in communion with the Son of God, even though she didn't have a complete, full explanation of what was going on in her life. And we could choose no better path to follow in the coming year to stay close to her Son, to ask him questions. It's okay to ask God questions. It's okay to shake your fist at God every once in a while when you really don't understand what's going on. It's okay. But we also have to listen and say, what does this mean? Lord, what is happening? Why is it happening? Give me guidance. That's why daily prayer, daily listening, as well as speaking with the Lord, and daily reading of Scripture is so necessary for us. There is no other way to stay close to Christ except through prayer and listening to him, and the Scripture is a primary way of listening. And combining the two is a perfect way to converse. So in the year ahead, uncertain as it may be, let us follow the example of Mary, whose feast we celebrate, and speak with her Son, listen to her Son, and above all, stay with her Son.